Yeah, good morning, everyone. So, so till now we have seen all the basics, right? And also we have seen the features, right? We have seen what is front end. On the first day, we have seen what is front end and what is back end. Then also we have seen something called history of Python, and then we have seen the versions of Python and from where Python has inspired from. Okay, these three we have seen in demo one. In demo 2, we have seen four features of Python, right? The most important four features of Python we have seen. Simple one, right? Why Python is simple? Because of three technical features: rich set of API, inbuilt garbage collector it has, and also it has easy syntax, right? These three technical factor it has. Next is freeware and open source. We have seen what is freeware and what is open source, right? If you have any doubt regarding these many concepts, right, what we have seen till now, so you can follow the recorded video, right? You'll get the recorded video, and also you'll get the notes, right? All the notes you'll get, so you can follow that video. Once you go through all that video, demo video, then try to learn these things. Try to learn these things and also follow the notes what I am going to share you, right? Today I'll share all the notes what we have seen till now, and this is the demo three topics what we have seen. Interpretation programming language, right? We have seen interpretation programming language. Then also we have seen high level programming language. What is high level programming language? And also we have seen what is robust, right? Why Python is also known as robust, robust programming language, right? So can anyone tell me what is robust meaning here? Why Python is known for robustness?
Because it has the exception handling concept. Because of it, it is robust, right, Pratyush?
Fine, great, great. Now we'll see. Today we are going to we are going to see the next four features, right? So total we have 11 features, and from them today we are going to see. Yeah. So today we are going to see the next four features. That is nothing but the seventh one. Sorry, the eighth one. Just give me a moment. Yeah. So the eighth one, which is nothing but Python is both procedural and object oriented programming language, right? Both procedural and object oriented programming language. So what makes both procedural and object oriented programming language, right? And I'm also going to share the running notes what we are seeing here, so that with the help of the date, okay, with the help of this date, you'll get an idea on what we have seen, right? So today it is 22, okay, and we are going to see this topics. Check. Next. So what is procedural oriented? Why we are calling it as procedural oriented, right? Okay. So procedural, that is nothing but we can also call it as function oriented programming, right? Functional, you can say functional oriented programming. What is the meaning of functional oriented program? First of all, what is function? Function is nothing but it is a sub program of a main program. Sub program of a main program, right? It is a sub program of a main program. If we say function is nothing but it is a sub program of a main program, okay, you can call it as the sub program of a main program, right? And also, what is the purpose of function? If we say what is the purpose of function, purpose, that is nothing but code reusability, right? Code reusability. What is code reusability? Let me show you what is code reusability, and then also we are going to see what is the difference between procedural oriented and object oriented, right? So if I say what are the languages we have which is known for procedural or function oriented, right? So C is purely functional oriented, right? Similarly, C++, both, it also has functions, right? Java is also there, both. Whereas Python is also having both the concept, right? Means Python has both procedural and object oriented programming, right? And object oriented programming. Fine. Then now we will see what is function oriented. Let's suppose I'll give one example. What is why it is called a sub program of a main program, right? Let's suppose I have one function, and in Python we have to define the function with the function definition, which is def, right? And we are writing sum. Sum is one of the function we are taking. This is just a name. You can take any any name, right? Here I am passing a and b. That is nothing but an parameter we are passing, right? A is an parameter, b is an parameter. So we are passing few parameters that are a and b, right? After this, I'll write one thing which is nothing but sum is equals to a plus b. Here what we are doing is we are adding a plus b, and we are initializing the value of a plus b into sum, right? So sum is equals to a plus b. Now we will return it. We will return sum. We will return the sum, right? After returning sum, now we have ended the definition part of or the block of code for this function, right? This function. And now I am going to give function sum of 10 and 20. Now you see here, it is giving 30, right? It is giving 30. No matter what are the number of time we are using the sum function now. We can call any number with the same program, right? Any number with the same program. So you see, we haven't assigned any value in this area, right? We are trying to assign the value in the function calling. Means this function calling can be able to take any number for their parameters, right? In this case, initially we have taken 10 and 20. After that, but you see, with the same block of code, we are using the same, but here in this time we have different numbers, right? So this is what, first of all, it is a sub program of a main program, right? It is known as, this is called a sub program of a main program. In this place you can also define some more functions. Multiplication, right? Multiplication, still a and b, right? And a and b you are taking, right? And in multiplication what you will do is mul is equals to, this mul is nothing but the variable, no need to worry about this, right? Mul, and this mul is nothing but the name of the function, right? So both are different, don't consider it as the similar one, right? Mul is equals to a multiply with b, right? A multiply with b, and then it will return mul, right? It is now coming out of this, yeah, come. uh, just a second. Yeah, so now if you see, in the both cases we are having some block of codes, right? Some block of codes we are having in this also, in this also. These are functions, right? And the purpose of function is nothing but code reusability. If you see, function is what? It is a sub program of a main program, right? It is a sub program of a main program, and the purpose is nothing but to reuse the code, right? Code reusability, or to reuse the code, right? Code reusability, or to reuse the code. And how we are reusing the code? See, these are what? These are the code inside this function. These are the code inside this function, right? And if I try to go for multiplication of 2 and 4, so it will multiply 2 multiply with 4, right? So the answer is 8. It is returning this. Yeah, better we will go with this. A is equals to this and b is equals to, we'll assign this, and then we have assigned the value a is equals to 30, means for sum it is printing 30. For multiplication, b, It is printing what? 8 means 2 multiply with 8, 4. Getting my point? So in any, let's suppose again I am using sum of um, 3 and 5, which is 8, means it is taking this one, this area. After this, if I go for multiplication, I am changing the values. If you if you see, we are changing the values, right? 4 and 5 means this code we have written once only. This code we have written once only, but we can use it multiple times. We can use it multiple times, right? That is what it is known as code reusability. The purpose of function is code reusability. We can reuse multiple times. Got it? This is nothing but the function. Fine. Now what is object oriented? So some drawbacks we had in functional oriented programming language, which was security, right? Which was security. Let me tell you one thing. Okay, let me explain you why we are using function oriented, object oriented. Now in traditional languages such as C programming, first we'll see the C programming. There we only have procedural oriented programming languages. If you can see, it is known as purely functional oriented, right? Let's suppose we have multiple lines, right? We have multiple lines over here. These are block of codes. These are codes only, right? Let's suppose I have written 100 line of code. 100 line of code I have written, right? But in this 100 line of code, let's suppose I am getting error in this line of code. Let's suppose in 50th line of code, in 50th line of code, I am getting error. Next, I in 55th line of code, 55th 55th line of code, I am getting error, right? So in C, because C is what based language? It is a compiler based language, right? It is a compiler based language. So in if any kind of situation like this, if it occurs, then what we have to do is we have to check each and every line of code. Means 100, in this 100 line of code we have to check all 100 line of code. That is the disadvantage of having this. So for that, what they have done, they have introduced something called functional oriented, right? What they have done, they have divided 100 line of code into parts, sub programs. Let's suppose I have 20 line of code in one sub program, then 20 line of code in another sub program. So likewise we'll be having 5 sub programs, right? Let's suppose in this also 20, then again we'll be having one more 20 and 20, right? Now let's suppose I am getting error in this 20 line of sub program. So do I need to check all this 20 line of code? This one, this one, this one, this one? No. Only I have to check what? This 20 line of code, which is a sub program of all this program, which is a sub program. That is a part of this program, right? And we do not need to check all this code. We only have to check what? This 20 line of code, right? And also we can reuse it. That's why it is called sub program of a main program. Sub program of a main program it is. And this is what? This is the 20 line of code where we have to check for error, right? We do not need to go through all this codes. Getting my point, Yasin? Fine. So this is something which functional oriented says, right? Few more thing are there, right? Let me explain you. Let me explain you with Now let's suppose, I have one main program, right? Main program, just now we have seen like this, right? Just now we have seen this is one function, this is another function, right? This is one function, this is another function, right? Let's suppose I'm just giving one example, right? And this is nothing but a main program. This is nothing but main program, right? This is the main program. And now we are going to create few sub programs like this, like this, and like, okay, we'll take two only, okay? And this is nothing but, this is sum, this is sum, and this is multiplication. It's multiplication. Now you try to focus here. In this case, we have some function, right? Some function. I'll write it like this. These are functions. So we have to create it like this. Okay. This is some. This is multiplication function, and this is sum function, right? Okay, fine, fine. So this is sum function, and this is what multiplication function. What we have seen here, right? Now from this we are going to call this sum function, and also we are going to call this sum function also, right? How we can call this? Just by writing sum of, sum of, and also multiplication of, right? Sum of and multiplication of, right? And also I am giving one more thing, which is nothing but, here I am giving a, let's suppose integer of a and b, and also c. This is just an example. You try to understand this so you will get an idea why they have introduced object oriented, right? Now this is integer abc. Fine, quickly we'll complete this. Now this abc is nothing but, it is a local variable, right? And it can be accessed, sorry, it comes under a main program, and it is a local variable, right? And it can be accessed by sum and multiplication, right? Let's suppose one more function I'm creating here, that is nothing but division, right? Division I'm creating, okay? Division I'm creating, and this division also can be accessed. Okay, so this three functions are there: sum, multiplication, and division, right? So this division also can be accessed by these many, means this division can access these many variables int a b c, right? So here, what if I don't want this division to access these variables? Here any of the functions can access these variables, right? And here let's suppose a is having your password. A is having what? Your password. So is it right to give password to anyone? No, right? so it should be confidential, right? Let's suppose in this case I have a as ABC, which are confidential to sum and multiplication, but I don't want division to access these variables, right? So in this case what we will do is simply I will keep all this, sorry, not this. I'll keep all this from here. I will keep this two in one circle, right? And that circle is nothing but, this is also known as object, right? This is also known as object. And this object is nothing but which binds the data into a single unit, right? The purpose of object creation is nothing but it binds the data in a single unit. And now this integer a and integer b c can be accessed by sum and multiplication. We will keep these things to them. Now division cannot be able to access this man. This is the concept of object, why they have introduced object oriented. They had the function oriented, but they have one drawback. At that time also they had one drawback, that is nothing but security of the data. Now in this case they have bind all the units, all the things in a single unit, that is nothing but object. Getting my point? Easy it is. Fine. So uh, I'll make this diagram and I'll share to you. Okay, fine. So the purpose of function is what? Purpose of function is what? Yasin, it is code reusability, right? And function is what?
Yes.
It is a subprogram of main program. But in functional oriented programming like C programming, they had one drawback, which was security. For that, they have made something known as object oriented programming language, right? And we have seen how we can bind my elements or bind things to a single unit, that is nothing but an object. Fine. So so what is class? So few things are there, right? Few things are there in object oriented. Right, like this. In object oriented programming, we have few concepts like class, object, inheritance, encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism, okay, polymorphism, and class, object, inheritance, encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism, and few more. Okay. So basically, we are going to see these many concepts in object oriented. Now, not now. I am explaining you why it is known as object oriented programming, because of these many concepts, right? But the two major things in this, we have two major things, right? Two major concepts. They are they are they are class and object, right? Now what is class? Some says class is a blueprint of object, right? Some says, so different types of definitions are there, right? But what I think is the class is the collection of variable variables and methods, right? Class is a collection of, the proper explanation you can see, or the proper definition you can say is what, the class is a collection of variables and methods, because we are going to see inside class we'll be having variables and methods, right? In normal programming we are calling it as function, but in class we are calling it as in oops concept we are calling it as methods, right? Fine. Now what is object? What is object is an instance of a class. Object is an instance of a class. It takes the reference of class, right? It takes the reference of the class. Without object, without object, class uh, cannot allocate the memory, right? Class cannot allocate the memory. So for that, we have to create the object. Then only memory memory for that class will get allocated. And means without object we cannot use class, right? We can create, but it is not going to allocate any memory. For that what we have to do, we have to create the object, right? That's why it is called object is instance of the class, means it will take all memory of the class. Whatever we are going to define inside the class, it is going to take what, it is going to take the reference of all of that. Getting my point? It is a simple, in a class, let's suppose we have 20 members, right? 20 members we have. So college is going to what, it is going to take the details of the students, right? Then only they can allocate, or they can say that these students belongs to this college, right? You're getting my point? So that's in this case also, if we are defining anything inside class, right? So for that we have to create the object, so that that object can store the memory of that particular class. Fine. uh, Yasin, are you getting my point? Since you are
Yes,
not
Pratish.
listening. Okay, fine. So without object we cannot use class, right? Class cannot allocate, or you can write class cannot be able to allocate the memory. So for that we have to create the object. The only memory then only memory for that class will get allocated. Simple it is. So what is class? Class is a collection of variables and methods. Means you see, inside class we'll be having multiple variables, multiple methods, right? But for that, what we have to do? We have to create object so that every instance of variable and method can be stored by object. Fine. Here in this case, college is what? An object which is storing what? Data of students, right? Then only they can say that the reference what we have taken, that belongs to that class. Getting my point? Fine it is. Sure. Simple it is. This is what object oriented. Next, ninth one, right? Ninth one, and we'll see what is this, right? Ninth, that is nothing but extensible. Okay, that is nothing but extensible. Why Python is also known as extensible, right? So extensible is nothing but it can extend the features, extend the features to other programming language also, other programming language, like like Java, Java, C++. Likewise, they can use they can use the language, they can use the Python language, the code of Python language into Java, C, C++, right? And one more is there called, that is nothing but embedded, right? Embed, embedded. That is also nothing but we can use the code of other programming language to Python. And what are the other programming language? Same, like this. Fine. Extensible means we can extend our features of Python to other programming language also. Right? Means we can use the code, we can use our features what we have in other programming language also. Okay? And also we can use the code of other programming language into Python. Fine it is. Next, 11th one and the last one. That is nothing but it uses, or let me um, third party API. Third party API. Okay, it allows third party APIs. Okay, what is third party APIs? Just like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, or SciPy, right? Scikit-learn, sklearn you can write. Okay, and more we can say, and many more, right? And many more, and many more. So it allows third party APIs. Third party API. API is nothing but the collection of, it is a collection of modules, right? It is a collection of modules we have seen here, right? Don't Try to remember everything, right? What is API here? Acha, we haven't. What is API? Tell me. Collection of modules. And what is
Collection of,
module?
yes, yeah.
Collection of
It is a collection of variables,
class,
classes.
variables, and functions. Collection of class, variables, and functions. Right? So in this case, if you see, these are third party APIs. They are not belongs to Python Foundation. They are not belongs to Python Software Foundation, but it can be used in Python. It only made for Python, right? NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, SciPy. These are NumPy is nothing but numerical Python. Somehow we are calling it as numerical Python. It is used to create multi-dimensional arrays, right? It is used to create multi-dimensional arrays. Pandas is nothing but it is also kind of a module which is used to create data frames, right? It is used to create data frames. Likewise, Matplotlib, SciPy, these are such kind of machine learning, or you can say data science modules. It is right. Matplotlib is nothing but it is used to visualize anything, right? Visualize the data. For data visualization, we are using Matplotlib. Similarly, also we have Seaborn, that is an advanced data visualization tool. Got it? So these are third party API. We are also going to cover these many things. Okay, these many things. We are going to cover this. This will be the last topic of our Python Core Plus Advanced. NumPy, Pandas, and Matplotlib. Fine, it is right now. Now we are going to see something really important now. Okay, we are going to see something really important now. That are nothing but data representation. Till now we have seen. Till now we have seen this many concepts, right? Which are features, right? First is simple because of this. Freeware, platform independent, dynamically typed. Interpretation, high level, robust. And then both procedural and object oriented. Then we have seen extensible, right? We can extend the features, right, to other languages. Embedded, we can merge the codes, right? And last one is it allows third party APIs. Got it? Easy it is. Fine. Now we are going to see something, data representation. Data representation, right? What it is? Data representation, right? Data representation. So first of all, let me tell you, in data representation, the data what we are represent in Python, that is nothing but data representation. What kind of data, right? First, literals, or you can say values, right? The data which we are representing in Python, right? Data first is literals. Literals are nothing but, let me give you one example. Literals are nothing but, if we are writing like this, a is equals to Python, right? A is equals to Python. So you see, if I write num, it is nothing but What kind of data it is? Character means we can call it as string, right? It is a string kind of data. If we see type of this, type of num, that is nothing but str, right? That is nothing but str. Let's suppose I want this num to multiply 2. Is it possible to multiply 2 with string? So, but it is taking it, what it is doing, 2 time it is multiplying that, right? Now let's suppose, will it work? Why? It is a string. Okay, let me on it is taking executed. Yes, it is executed. Coming 2 time Python, right? Sure. We'll see later on in string part. We'll see string handling. We'll see all these things, right? For now, we are looking for literals. What is literal, right? What is literal? So whatever we are assigning here, whatever we are assigning here, that is nothing but literal. The values, whatever we are assigning to the object, that is nothing but a literal or the values, right? If I am assigning age equals to 10, that is nothing but a literal. What kind of literal it is? Integer kind of literal it is. It is a integer kind of literal, right? If I try a plus any string, it is giving what? It is giving what? Error. Why? Because we have this as integer kind of literal. We have this as integer kind of literal, and we are trying to concatenate, or we are trying to add, not adding. It is known as concatenation. We are merging it, right? And we are trying to merge integer into to string, which is not possible. That's why unsupported operand types S for plus, integer and string. It is called an type error. It is known as type error, right? In the similar fashion, we can also uh, A is equals to 10.7. That is what kind of literal it is? Float kind of literal. So this is also known as values as well as literal. The standard term of this is nothing but literal. Okay, this is known as literal. If someone asks you what is this, so you can tell that this is an literal. What kind of literal? Float literal, string literal, integer literal, or list literal. Any kind of literal you can call it. Whatever the value variable you are taking, whatever the object you are taking, right? It is going to store some values. That value is nothing but what? The literal, right? So first is what? Literal. And so literal example you can say, a is equals to 10. A is equals to 10. Here 10 is literal. Fine. 10 is what? Literal or values. Any other example? Let's suppose b is equals to Python. B is equals to Python. Python is what? What kind of literal? String literal. String literal. Fine, it is. Getting my point? Sure. Fine. Now, second, identifier or identifiers, what it is, identifiers and variable, identifier and variables, right? So what is identifier or variables? Now in this case only I'll explain you, right? Num is equals to Python, right? So this num is nothing but the variable or identifier. With the help of this only, we are identifying that we are using what kind of data? String type of data. String literal we are using. So this is also known as identifiers. This is also known as identifiers. Getting my point? This is also known as identifier. And also you can call it as variables. Okay, but in standard term, the number is identifier here, and uh, or variable, or variable, but we can also call it as object. We have seen we can also call it as object. Object is nothing but instance of the class. So what type of class it is storing? String class it is storing. Means the type of the value is string. So string is also a class. So this object is storing string type of class, right? Sure. Fine. This is what, okay, I'll give, so I'll write it here. Literals or variables are the values, oh sorry, not values, are the values which we are giving to what? Variable, right? Giving to variables. I'm writing roughly so that you can be able to understand, right? Literal or variable are the values which we can store store in variables, which we can store in variables, right? And variables are what? It is the it takes the reference or reference. Okay, it takes the reference or the value. It takes the reference or the value, right? So, third, that is nothing but, and really important, that is data type. Data type, that is nothing but data type. Tomorrow I'll explain this data type because it is a vast topic. We have to see all the data types. Okay, basic data types are integer, float, float. These are fundamentals: integer, float, boolean, and complex, right? Boolean and complex. Let me show you in simple way all this, right? Here in this case, a is equals to 10. What kind of data it is? Type a, integer. If I write b is equals to 1.2, type of b, float, right? If I write c is equals to false. Type of C, what it is? Boolean. If I am writing D is equals to 10 plus 20J, what is the type of this? It is complex, right? So in complex, we have one part is real, one is imaginary. Okay, it comes under mathematics. Complex value, real time, real part and imaginary part. Okay, if you want to take a real part of this, you can write d dot real. It is giving real part. If you want d dot image, and it is getting my point. So basic, we have four type of data. The fundamental one is integer, one is float, third is boolean, and fourth one is complex. Getting my point? So here we have seen this four. Integer means it can store integral type of data, or you can say, or integer. Floated float is what? It can store decimal values, decimal or floating point values, floating point values, right? Now what is boolean? Boolean, it can store boolean values that are true and false, right? And complex, last one is complex. What it can store? It can store complex type of data. Complex type of data. Data means real part and image imaginary part. Okay, real part and imaginary part. Fine, whatever it is. So this is what. So till now we have seen this many concepts, right? We have completed today the eighth feature of Python, which is nothing but procedural and object oriented. Then we have seen what? This extensible, then embedded, and also it allows third party APIs. Then we have seen what? Data representation. In what are the way to represent the data, right? There are few way to represent the data. First is literals, next is identifiers, and last one is data types. Fine, it is simple. Getting my point? Uh, Yasin, understood the concept?
Yes, Pratyush. Yeah, I'm good.
Fine. So tomorrow we will start the data types. Tomorrow we'll see um, most important topic of Python. Before knowing the concepts, so we have to know the data types, right? What are the data types we have? In Python, we have 14 data types, right? So tomorrow we'll see. Tomorrow we'll see these 14 data types, right? We'll start with the data types tomorrow. Fine. So till now we have seen this many concepts. Fine it is. So for any kind of doubt or anything, if you have any also you try to execute whatever I have shown you till now here, whatever I have shown you, once you also try to execute it, also you also try to execute, you also try to write a code. Okay, write some code, so you will get the idea how it happened. Okay, what Python does, what are the things it can do, right? Sure. We have seen data types, we have seen this. Sure. Now, so tomorrow we'll start with 14 data types. Okay, and for any kind of queries you can contact to this number. Any kind of queries you can contact to this number, right? And also if you have any doubt regarding these concepts, you have the link. Okay, link will be provided to you. Once you go through that all the demo classes, few more 1 2 demo classes I'll take. Okay, mostly from Tuesday. Today it is the last day, so mostly from the Tuesday or Wednesday we will start our regular batch, right? So if you want to join it earlier. Okay, then we'll see lots of things, lots of stuffs are there, interesting things are there, we'll see. Okay, so not tomorrow, the date will be 25, 25, 25, 25. It is holiday, holy it is 26, 26 3 2024. Okay? Sure. Thank you so much. If you have any doubt you can ask me, and if you have any doubt after this, so you can refer to the uh, recorded classes, right? Demo classes, and also join the Google Classroom. You have joined? Yeah. So join the Google Classroom for the further notes and all, right? Also, I am going to upload these running notes. Okay, so you'll get the idea on what we have seen. Fine. Thank you so much for the day. See you. See you on 26. Thank you.